Hello, drafters. Doing another live today, and I wanted to cover a couple of things. The new Xtool F2 Ultra UV laser machine. It's just been announced, or it's starting to get a bit of promotion out there on the influencers and such. And also, I thought I'd cover some of the big brands in 3D printing and maker sort of niche for their Black Friday deals. So we can have a look at their websites and have a look at some of the deals going on and sort of give you my thoughts on what's going on. So the first thing is, and excuse if you can hear any birds outside. I'm not sure if you can, but it's afternoon in Australia and we get a lot of cockatoos in this area and they're very noisy. So sorry if it comes through on the mic. The first thing to look at is, I think, the Xtool Xtool F2 Ultra UV. So this is a new machine from Xtool. They've recently released a couple of machines this year. The F2 Ultra, which was their MOPA and diode laser. That machine was excelling at more power. It was their first MOPA as well. Previous F1 Ultra was a fiber laser with diode. This one, well, the F2 Ultra was a MOPA with a diode. MOPA just meaning that it's really good at doing metal engraving and especially color metal engraving. And then there was the P3, which was a successor to their P2S. That was their CO2 laser. So the P3 was much larger CO2 laser, came with its own trolley bench, has its own dedicated filter extraction system as well, which is much larger than the smaller version they have, and more power as well. I think it was an 80-watt machine. And overall, like, honestly, I really want to get some Xtool products. I've discussed them in the past. I don't have any brand affiliation with them, but I just know that if you're going to get a laser, honestly, and you want to get a good premium level laser machine, I think Xtool is really the industry leader right now. So the P3 came out, and then just recently this week, like the last day or two, the Xtool F2 Ultra UV laser machine just came out. And what's special about this is UV lasers use a different method of engraving. So this is more of an engraving machine. It can do some cutting, but it's more of an engraving machine. And the thing with UV is it's called cold processing. So instead of using high heat, concentrated laser heat to burn a material and create that scorched engraving, UV, and I'm not a scientist, I don't fully understand this, so I'm trying to explain as best as I can. UV is actually using a different wavelength of light in the UV spectrum, and it can focus that to a point where it's actually breaking the molecular bonds of the material. So that is what breaks it down and causes that scorched engraving look. Now, UV is also super precise, so you can get some really, really fine detail with UV. And because of that nature of a cold process instead of a hot process, it means you can engrave a lot of materials that you might not normally be able to do, or you can do because it's not going to burn it. So an example they gave was they basically engraved lettering on a feather. And actually, I think it's on this page. So if we switch back, so here's their launch page, landing page for the F2 Ultra UV. And any links and stuff, check the description. You'll find it all there. So this is, they're working up to the release. There's some incentives to getting this now. If you put a deposit, you get like the best price off. You'll save quite a bit actually if you just put a $50 deposit down. But the actual launch is on November 27th, which isn't too far away, a couple of weeks. So I'll just try and find that one I was looking at. So here you can see it's actually engraving into the feather, whereas a normal laser would just burn the feather up because obviously it's such fine material. The heat would just burn it. Whereas with cold processing, it just breaks it down and it creates that. So you can do some really cool stuff with this. Another example here is they're using probably a paper or a wood, and instead of scorching it around all those edges, it just cuts through it, no problem. And so let's just have a look at this, what they're offering here. So here's the landing page. Currently, like I said, if you pay $50 today up until I think the 27th, you'll lock in the lowest price. So typically it's going to be $7,599 Australian dollars. It's a bit expensive machine. Like Xtool aren't cheap machines, and I think they're worth it. I still haven't got one, but I think if I was to pay that much for a machine that I could actually use in a business setting and create things that sell, I think you'd pay it off fairly quickly if you could do it in a full-time business capacity. If I was doing it in my case where I was just like hobby stuff, I think it would take a while to pay off, but who knows? So you put the $50 deposit down. Instead of $7,599, you're looking at $6,699. Quite a big saving. Plus, you're getting the inner engraving pack, which is worth another $1,150. You'll go into the chance, if you just put the deposit down, you go into the chance of winning an F2 Ultra UV as well. So one person, I believe it's one, is going to get picked to just say, hey, here's your order for free. That would be pretty cool. And the deposit is refundable as well if you decide not to purchase. So you could, and it says here the deposit period is between November 14th to November 27th, Australian time. So you could just put the deposit down now. You might think about it in that time. If it goes past the November 27th and you're like, I'm not going to buy it, you just get your refund. The problem with these refunds though is they can take a little bit of time though, so don't expect it just to be instant. Probably a week or two to actually process and come back to you, and there might even be like bank charges as well, depending on your country and system and all that. So just be aware it might not be $50 in, $50 out. And then you'll have a final payment between the 27th to December 9th. So you only get a week to actually make the full payment, unless you're one of the lucky ones and you get the free one. That'd be nice. So have a look over this page. So it goes over some of the details. So one of the main drawing attractions to a UV laser is that it is great at glass and crystal engravings. And not only on the surface, but on the inner engraving as well, which we'll have a look at in a sec. Normally when you're using a diode laser like a CO2 or do some glass, you have to do a lot of prep work to it. So you'd have to paint it and create a surface coating so that it etches. It's not the problem is that it's going through the glass, so you kind of need to put something on top so it actually engraves in that surface and then kind of scorches through to the glass behind it, and then you've cleaned it up. And so, you know, there's a lot of process to it, and if you need to get these out quickly, then you're sitting there, you're prepping, you're lasering, you're cleaning, and then you're shipping out. So there's a whole process to that. But for the UV lasers case, it's simply chuck the glass in or the crystal in, engrave it, and go. Like, that's all you need to do. So that's where the real attraction is for UV. The other attraction is the really fine detail. There's a cool image down here. Let's see where it was. Not that one. Don't think I'm going to find it now. There was a really cool little image. Maybe this one. Yeah, so here. So it zooms in. It's got a 48 megapixel camera in it. They put in a little tiny icon of whatever on a watch dial, and then it's able to engrave that. So it's zooms right into this tiny thing. It's probably only like a millimeter wide, and then it engraves into that. So pretty cool if you want super high precision. So let's just have a look at this glass stuff. So you can see here doing things like wine glasses. I don't know what that is. Some sort of crystal. And then you get these crystal blocks, which you've probably seen around at markets or souvenir shops, where you have these little images inside the crystal block. But I think they're not always like pure 3D. They can be kind of like a fake 3D sometimes. So you look at it in one direction, it looks 3D, but you look at it at the side and it creates like a depth and you can't notice that image. But the cool thing with this thing and the Xtool software is that you can actually send an STL model, a 3D model, into the software and place it in your glass, and then it engraves the outside surface of that model into the glass where you specify. So it's actually kind of engraving the actual 3D model inside the glass. So no matter which way you look and turn around this glass, you can see it all, and it's got some really nice detail as well. And when you put these little crystals on like little LED pucks, the light catches through and they look really cool. So you can see here it's got a little cityscape. You can do really cool things like trophies. And if you just go to Alibaba and find like, I think they're called K9. I'll just have a look. So let's go to Alibaba. There's a specific name for these crystals. Yeah, K9 blanks. So if you look for K9 crystal blanks, and you can see there's so many different shapes. So you got like pendant stars, you got different size cubes. Be aware you could probably only fit specific size into this machine, so you're not going to get huge ones. You can do really interesting trophies. There's things like this that'd be really interesting to engrave into and onto. There's some suppliers that have lots of really cool trophies that you can buy. So you could start a whole trophy business using this machine. You could do little I wonder if you could do little tiny gemstones and all sorts of stuff. So there's a whole lot of things you can look at on Alibaba to get an idea of what you could possibly engrave into if you're doing glass. And even like these ones, like you go like little 3D engraving inside a sphere with a galaxy. You can do portraits of your family. Products like glass candle holders or whatever, food containers, whatever. You can do a whole lot. I think an interesting idea that I had would be to do a chest set. So you could get two different sizes of the K9 blanks, and you can get like a larger one for your back row and then a smaller cube for your front row, the pawns, and then 3D engrave like pawns and then your king, queen, rook, etc. for the back ones, and have like a chessboard. They would look really cool. Obviously you would have to distinguish teams like white and black, so I don't know how you do that, but I think just I saw that image of the horse in the crystal blank, and I think like making a whole chess set would be really cool. So again, super high detail. The main thing with Xtool is the software. They've really pushed what their software can do, making it easy to approach not just UV laser engraving, but lasering in general. I'm still trying to learn Lightburn for a couple of other machines, and honestly, it's so outdated. It's so clumsy to use. It just feels like you're stuck in the past using something like that, whereas you use something like the Xtool software and you feel like this is where it should be. Like this is what all these laser companies should be trying to do. See, look at that. The dandelion wish blow flower thing, whatever you want to call it, inside a sphere. That looks so cool. You can engrave on food because you're not burning the food. So you can do stuff like chocolate. Another cool thing is the keycaps. So you could do customized keycaps because you're not melting the plastic. You can engrave onto 3D prints because, again, it's not melting the plastic. So really cool stuff. I would love to get one of these machines. Maybe next year I'll save up and try and get one because, fortunately, Xtool aren't sending me products right now. Not because they don't like me or anything. It's just I don't think I'm big enough of a content creator for me to be on their radar yet. But hey, Xtool, if you're watching, I'd love to get some of your products to show off. That's for sure. And yeah, so really interesting machine if you're looking for something a little bit different with laser work. If you're working with a business in laser engraving, and I think this is certainly a machine to keep an eye on or possibly even purchase. Now, something else, let's go into the Black Friday deals. So jumping back on all these brands, we're going to have a quick look at some of the 3D printer and 3D scanners and laser machine companies Black Friday deals, because usually Black Friday is at the end of the month, I think the 28th or 29th of November, and then you roll into Cyber Monday. But obviously November is just kind of a bit of the best time of the year for purchasing stuff because those Black Friday sales just extend over most of November now. So everyone is already pushing their Black Friday sales. So we'll start with Xtool since we're already looking at them. And the way this one works is it looks like they have a few different segments. So week by week, they have different Black Friday offerings. So the first one was last week. It looks like home decor and woodworking. Unfortunately, that was probably where some of the diode lasers were. I didn't see it or notice it. Now we're into the apparel and fabric printing. So you're looking at the F1 printer. And you can sort of have a look at here some of the offers they're adding to their Black Friday. Next week is the metalworking, so the metal fab. And then you got the actual Black Friday, November 28th. 3 lucky winners will get 100% refund on their order, so that'd be nice. So I'd imagine that on that Black Friday day, you order a S1 or UV, well, you'd be paying deposit, or any of their machines, the P3 or whatever, and you might be one of the lucky winners to get a full refund on your order. So you basically get the machine for free. That'd be pretty nice. If we go over to, let's just have a look at the prices right now. So if we have a look, because I've been looking at their diode laser, the S1, for quite a while. I think if I was to do my first Xtool purchase, it would probably be an S1 machine. This is their diode laser. You can come in a 20 watt or a 40 watt, so probably a 40 watt to maximize my cutting. And you'd probably want the deluxe kit because that comes with the rotary, it comes with the riser, and it comes with the conveyor. And for instance, Australian dollars, typically this is $3,749. Actually a little bit higher than that. So typically this is $4,149. Crazy that a diode laser is that much. $4,000 for this machine. But with the Black Friday sales, the final price, because you have some extra discounts here, you get a final price of $3,449. So if you're trying to get an S1 machine, probably the best time to purchase is this time of year. And they do have financing options as well if you want to look into that. I'm pretty sure these Black Friday deals are applying already because, I don't know, save 700. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you get an extra, because this would fall into this extra, you know, $300 off. But I think that's the final price. Should we add one to the cart and see what happens? Let's go. Let's add one to cart. Maybe next time. We don't want that. Confirm checkout. Savings. Instant saving. 4-3. Yeah, so it's 3-4-4-9. Okay, so the instant savings was like 400 plus the discount, so 7. That's where it's getting the 700 from. So yeah, a full S1 machine. But see, if I was to get one, I'd probably go the S1 with IR kit. I'd go the 40 watt. And I'd want probably the purifier as well. If I really wanted to push the budget, probably the one with the purifier. But I do have a setup here. I could just vent it outside and there's no one out there. So I could pretty much vent with no issue. So I could probably go the deluxe kit. And this deluxe kit, so this is 40 watt with the IR. So IR is good at your metal engraving. But hey, if I was looking at metal engraving, maybe I'll just get the 40 watt and then later on save up and get the UV laser and use that for the metal engraving. Because yeah, I think that'd be better. But if you wanted to go S1 IR, you're looking at $4,000 for that. So anyway, Xtool, definitely check them out. The other one, like I was saying, the CO2 P3. Now this is a massive bed, massive 80 watt CO2 laser. If you're doing a lot of cutting like acrylic and wood and all that sort of stuff, if you're doing lots of cutting work, this is a machine to get, I think. Expensive, again. Xtool definitely likes their premium pricing, but you could get the versatile bundle. This comes with the work stand, the rotary, a conveyor, and a CO2 extinguisher. And this would come in at $12,250. So you save $2,000, decent saving. If you wanted to get it with the AP Max, which is their purifier, which is again a huge unit to handle this thing, you are looking at $16,000, but you'd save $2,666, so decent saving there as well. So that's Xtool. As we go through this, if you check the links in the description, please use those if you consider buying anything from these brands, because it helps support the channel. They've put in some affiliate links in there, and going to that link, it's not going to cost you any more, but I'll get a little bit of a kickback from it, and you know, it just helps keep this channel going. So I really appreciate if you use those links. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is BIQU. I've been a big supporter of BIQU. BIQU do a lot of 3D printing accessories, especially for Bambu Lab printers. They do the really awesome cryo grip build plates, which I highly recommend you using. I use them all the time in my machines now. And they're quickly expanding their range of products that they do for Creality and Bambu Lab printers. Almost going too far, I think, with just the unnecessary kind of stuff, but a lot of their stuff is really cool. So we'll have a quick look at what they're offering. So if you go to the BIQU website through the link in the description, you can go to the Black Friday sale. And here they're sort of showing their early access, which is already finished, but the Black Friday kind of sale starts now. There are some discount codes that you can use here. So $10 off, or 25 or 60, depending on how much you order. There's some free gifts that you can get as well. And then you can start looking at some of their products to see what you would like. Now, if I was to pick some products, I would definitely recommend The Panda status bar I've done a video on recently for the X1C. This is a really cool status bar that's similar to like the H2 series printers that come built in with it. You can do this one for the X1. If you want to check out a video on it, just look at my video history. I did an installation and setup for this thing, and it's pretty cool. You can probably see it in the background, maybe. Okay, so see just there? That's the Panda status bar on my X1C. So it's just in a standby mode at the moment and it's doing that. So this device will do things like change color and progress as your print goes. It will show you red flashing if there's an error. Very similar to the H2 series printers. This one is one I don't have, but I've seen some videos. The Panda Diaper. It's a weird name, but as you know, with the X1 printers, a lot of that junk, the little strands and bits of filament get just trapped on the bottom there. And because it's kind of a cavity in there, it's really hard to get stuff out. I actually 3D printed this little scoop that I put at the end, but because of the Panda status bar, it doesn't fit, so I had to take that out. So I usually just have to wipe it out now. But the Panda Diaper is basically kind of like a floor mat. Instead of for your car, it's for your 3D printer. You chuck it in, everything falls onto that, and then you can sort of fold it up, take the mat out, empty it, and then put it back in. So yeah, interesting idea. I don't have one myself, but it'd be handy to have. The Panda Nomi Smart Display, I've done a video on this as well for the A1 Mini. Really cool little device that changes the front dial to an LCD display that you can then display your own images on. And again, it's going to show you things like print status, errors, whatever. I think that's a really cool product as well. I do highly recommend that. I've still got it running. I think you probably can't see because it's right there, but yeah, I've got it on there as well. Sorry, you probably can't see on that screen. So there's my A1 Mini there, and the Panda status is on that one. Panda Nomi is on that one. The other one I would highly recommend is, like I said, the let's see, I'm trying to find it, the build plates there. Okay, the build plates, the Panda Cryo Grip build plates are definitely ones you want to get. Both the Frostbite and the Glacier. The Glacier is really good for just your general printing, so all materials. It doesn't get the temperature down as much, but it's really strong adhesive. Well, not adhesive, but what's it called? I've lost the word for that one, but it's very good at sticking down that first layer and keeping your print down. And the Frostbite is really good at the PLA and PETG, and you can really bring the temperatures down on those build plates, especially with the Frostbite. So you're cutting down a lot of your startup time for heating up the build plate. You're cutting down your electricity use because a lot of that electricity is going into heating up the build plate and keeping it hot. And so you can basically print at room temperature using PLA with these build plates, and yeah, really recommend them. I rarely get any warping now with my prints because even wide prints, it holds it down really well. You don't get like edges fanning up or anything. So they're just overall highly recommend. Probably their best product, I reckon. I've got one in each of my machine, my H2, my A1 Mini, and my X1C. I've got both the Frostbite and Glacier for all of those printers. They're just that good. Highly recommend that. Sorry if I'm drinking in between screens here. Now, the next one we want to look at is Revopoint. Revopoint are a 3D scanner company. I have used one of their scanners in the past at work. I can't remember which one, but kind of looked like, I don't know if they have it anymore actually. Let's have a look. It's probably, I think it's the Range I had. Well, not I had, but work had it. I think it was the Range. And I used it a little bit at work, but for what I was trying to scan, it wasn't suited for that purpose. I needed more room. And so, sorry, here's the range. So I didn't use it as much as I want. The software seemed decent. It seemed like a good scanner, and I often hear about Revopoint in the background. Sorry, just answering a message. It's the beauty of doing live, is anything can happen in between. So I'll try and power through this because I'm going to have to go soon. It's already been 30 minutes. So the Revopoint are doing a bunch of, maybe they're not doing Black Friday yet. Let's just go to one of them, see. So they got, okay. So the Miraco Plus, I think, is a really cool scanner. Being able to do all your scanning just on one device without having to connect a phone or a computer or anything. It's all built in, just scan it on the go. I think that's a really cool idea. Then you got the like high grade metrology sort of scanners, like blue light scanners, so really high industrial precision scanners. That's these ones here. Price isn't too bad for these sort of level scanners either. And then you have your small to medium object 3D scanners, the Inspire. Now, stick around to the channel because Revopoint, I have been in discussion with them to do a video on, I believe it's the Inspire. They're sending one to me to check out, and I'm going to do a video of using that. I have been quite familiar with Creality scanners in the past. I've done many videos on theirs in the past, and it's kind of how the channel really not blew up, but got its first legs was through the 3D scanning videos. So I'm really excited to jump back into 3D scanning, especially with a different brand, and sort of exploring the other side of the fence, I suppose, with Revopoint. So again, if we have a look, let's just go to one of their products, the Inspire. So yeah, there's definitely some Black Friday deals going on. So normally this is 715 Australian dollars. It's currently 608. So yeah, if you're looking for 3D scanners or looking for information in the future for Revopoint 3D scanners, subscribe to the channel because I'll be checking out this one in the near future. Next up is Creality. So they have their Black Friday sale on right now. The cool thing with Creality is they have a lot of products. So they have a lot of 3D printers, they have scanners, they have laser engravers, they have resin machines, they have a lot. So if you're looking for anything in that space, you could definitely check out Creality. Their products can be a little hit or miss sometimes. I've had a couple of machines that have had issues in the 3D printers. Their scanners are great. I really like their scanners. I've got like three scanners from Creality at the moment. The Otter, the Raptor, and another one, the small one. Can't remember the name. And I've got one of the original ones, which I based the whole channel on the startup, the CR Scan Lizard, which is kind of like discontinued now. It's not mentioned, but I've got 4 Creality scanners and I rate them all highly. They work really well. Software needs improvement, but it's pretty well established now. It's more about just fine-tuning things with the software now. So scanners are really good. The laser cutters, I haven't had many. I've only had one Creality laser cutter in the past. One of the early Falcons. It was fine. It was just an open gantry budget level laser cutter. It was fine, but it actually stopped working. I think I plugged in the wrong power cable because I was trying to find the power cable for it, and I put in potentially the wrong one. I turned it on, it just stopped working. So it's still sitting in the other room, but I never use it because it doesn't turn on anymore. I think I broke it. And then their printers. So the printers, I think they're good. They're budget level printers. They're trying to get better. I think that, in my opinion, Creality just need to slow down a little bit on their product push. You know, it's always like the V3, the V3 Plus, the V3 Plus V2 version. It's just constantly in your face, model after model after model. And I feel like the community is just kind of getting some fatigue from Creality in just the constant onslaught of new models. And I can understand it could be really just disenchanting when you buy, like, you put a lot of money, you buy a 3D printer, and then like 3 months later there's a new version of it out, like the new and improved, and you're like, well, is mine bad now? Like, should I have waited for this one? But if you wait for that one, you get that one. 3 months later, they push the next model out. I think they need to just kind of like go back a step, put out something solid and refine it and work on it. And then, you know, a couple of years later, put out the new version. You know, that's why Bambu do so well, is because they put the time into one machine and they focus on it. They get everything the best, and they take the feedback, and then they use that feedback to make the next machine as good as they can, so it will last another 3 or 4 years, so that they can repeat that process. So I think that's what Creality needs to kind of step back and do as well. But in saying that, their printers are good. If you're, you know, it's hard to beat these prices sometimes. If we go to their 3D printer K series, see, and this is what I mean about the thing. You got the K1, the K1 SE, the K1C 2025, and then you got the K1 Max. Like, how many versions of the same thing do you need? Ender 5 Max, Ender 5, Ender 3 V3 SE, the Ender 3 V3 KE, the Ender 3 V3, the Ender 3 V3 Plus. Like, there's just so many. I can't believe it. Let's have a look. So let's just take a guess at which one we want. So the K1. Let's go to the K1. So here, is this one for sale or not, guys? Don't know if that one's for sale. Anyway, they definitely have some on sale. Like you'd see here, the Ender 5 Max, normally $12.50, is $9.99. So they've got some decent discounts on their printers right now. Let's just smash through the last ones because I only got a few minutes left here. Anycubic are one that I've been pushing lately. I've been talking and working with Anycubic quite a bit. I've currently got the Cobra S1 combo in the other room. It's been fine. I've got a video I'm working on that will be talking about that. And they also just announced their new Cobra S1 Max combo, which is like basically a competitor to the H2 series, a little bit bigger in build volume, multicolor, some other cool features. So that one is definitely to look out for. I wonder if it'll come up in the banner. Doesn't look like it. Oops. But yeah, definitely check out Anycubic because they do resin printing, they do the S1, they do the kind of like the budget version, the Cobra 3. So, and I've been quite happy with the Anycubic. I'd probably go Bambu Lab, Anycubic, and then Creality if I was to kind of like push my budget. So if I was going cheap, I'd go Creality. If I wanted to go a little bit higher or a little bit more quality, I'd go for Anycubic. And then if I wanted to just get the best of the best, I'd go Bambu. But honestly, the Anycubic has really surprised me in that both the software, the actual build of the machine, the capability of it, really been surprised at what a budget printer can achieve. Next one is Makera, which is a CNC desktop machine. I have spoken about this in recent videos because they are releasing their Z1, their budget entry-level desktop CNC machine. It's currently on Kickstarter, but they do have another two machines that already exist, which is the Carvera and the Carvera Air. So the Carvera is kind of like the high-end, first most expensive product they have. And then the Carvera Air is their mid-range CNC machine. So it doesn't have auto tool changing, but it's still capable little machine. So these are the three machines they have at the moment. Like I said, the Z1's on Kickstarter. These two machines do exist, and they do have some pretty decent discounts on their Black Friday. So normally the high-end full changer machine is 9,524 Australian dollars. It's currently 8,254. So what's that, like $1,200 off? That's pretty decent saving. And so definitely check out Makera if you're looking for a desktop CNC machine. Don't have much time left. Sorry guys, I've got to keep pushing this forward. Next one on the list is FlashForge. Now FlashForge have recently sent me a printer, their 85X, and I'm working on a video to do that, which is this one. This is a really cool little super budget color printer. So it's an open frame, so it reminds me a lot of like the Bambu P1 sort of style printer. Build plate's a little smaller. I think it's like 220 or 210, maybe even 200 by 200. It's the spools will attach on the side. It's not a multi-tool head or anything. It's a single hot end, but you just put the 4 spools on the side. That all feeds into the hot end, and it's just doing its color change like a normal 3D printer would by purging between color changes. And I haven't used this machine much yet. I've just set it up and done the recording for that, but I need to start doing some color prints, and I'll see how this goes. But just the price for this sort of machine, even for like the Black Friday sales right now, $319 for a color 3D printer. That's pretty hard to beat. If you're looking at like I'd put this in a category of like an A1 from Bambu, not in terms of quality, but that kind of price range. The Bambu A1, if we jump over to them, like the A1 mini combo in its Black Friday sale is normally $750. It's $519 Australian dollars. So you're looking at almost half that, $319, so $200 less. You don't have that enclosed, well, you don't have that offshoot color loading sort of device. It's a little bit more dumbed down. It just sort of plugs onto the side and just feeds in, but really hard to beat for that price. Like you could get, 4 of these machines for less than $1,500 and just knock out color prints really quick if you're sort of into that print farm sort of stuff. And then they do have some other models, the Adventurer 5M, no experience with. Adventurer 5M Pro, basically an enclosed version of that. Again, no experience, but I mean, $200 for a 3D printer. That's pretty crazy. Actually, in saying that, $319 is probably USD. So if we have a look at this, 319 times 1.55, it's probably about 494 Australian dollars. So might not be as good as a deal as the Bambu as I was kind of expecting. Let's see if they have an Australian dollar. Okay, here we go. Let's try the Australian dollars. Let's see what it comes at now. Yeah, so sorry about that. 539 Australian dollars. So I mean, compared to like a A1 mini combo, the A1 mini combo is actually cheaper than that. That's crazy. So that'd be a hard sell. Well, sorry, A1 mini is going to be a small, like you're going to have a smaller bed size than that. So pairing, you're actually looking at an A1 combo. That's $619. So you're looking at $80, $90 more. You could go the Bambu, or you go the Adventurer 5X for $539. So tough sell. But if you're interested in FlashForge, they've got their sales on now as well. So check them out. Not as many in their lineup, but something to look at. And again, pay attention to the channel, because I will be releasing a video on this one as soon as I can as well. And then finally, we have Bambu. They have quite a bit of sales going on right now. They already started. They started quite early in November, but a lot of their printers, P1, not the P2S, I haven't seen that one on sale. H2D is part of the decent price reduction there, almost $400 off the H2D. Not the H2S, that's still normal price, but the A1 and the A1 Mini both have decent savings. And then you have like filaments. There's lots of bulk sales on their filaments and accessories and all that stuff. So yeah, Bambu have a lot of sales going on right now as well. So definitely worth checking out. All right, guys, I've got to tie this up now. So if anyone's been watching or commenting, I'll work on trying to see those comments as I record in the future. I'm still working on this live stuff, but it's just fun to do once in a while. But thanks for watching, or if you watched after the stream, then thanks for watching this far. Again, check out the links in the description, because that will help support the channel through those affiliate links. And yeah, I'm definitely working on a few more videos, and then I can start getting into the next year's content, which will be a lot more tutorial based series. I'm looking forward to doing some of that stuff. I just pulled my finger. Oh, that hurt. Don't you hate those little guys that get in the corners and you pull them out and they're like, now it's burning me. Oh, painful. Anyway, so yeah, so thanks for watching. I don't know how to end these lives yet. So what do I normally say on my videos? Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. All right, that's it. See you later.